Alrighty, it looks like we're on YouTube, so I'd like to
hang on just 1 second, actually. It's still loading.
Gotcha.
Yes, we're good.
Great. Thank you everyone for joining us. This begins the pre-meeting for the City Planning Commission hearing on June 6, 2020. During the pre-meeting, staff and City Planning Commission members review cases. There is no participation by applicants or the public. Following the conclusion of the pre-meeting, a public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. Here, all cases will be heard. Applicants will present and public comments submitted after staff reports were compiled will be read into the record. After the conclusion of the hearing, deliberations will follow. The City Planning Commission will take action on cases that were heard at the public hearing. There is no participation by applicants or the public. I ask that all staff and board members mute their microphone at this time and keep themselves muted unless they're going to speak. Actually, before we get too gung-ho about muting, I want to make sure that everyone has visited the sites. So we have 3 cases this month, and if you haven't visited one of the sites, please speak up and let me know.
Anna, this is Steve Revolts. Am I coming through? Yeah, so because I'm recusing myself from case number 3, I did not visit that site.
Great, thank you for letting me know, Steve.
But I did visit case number 1 and case number 2.
Perfect.
Steve, when we start discussing case number 1, if you don't mind turning off and leaving, sort of.
Okay, for case number 3.
For case number 3, correct.
Yep. So I'll go away during the pre-meeting, and then I'll come back for the meeting, and then I'll make sure to leave for the I'll leave virtually for case number 3.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
you. Okay, so based on the silence from the rest of the board members, I take that as you've all visited the rest of the sites, or all of the sites, and the nodding of the heads I see. So we have 3 cases this month. The first one you saw this time last year. This is, when it came before you, was to establish a use of recycling center. You guys granted a 1-year temporary approval. So here it is again before you. There was a condition on that approval. It involved screening of the nearby residential uses of the property. So with that, the applicant has provided some pictures that are attached to the staff report that show the fencing that was installed and the height of the fencing that was installed. This was broadcasted the same way we announce all of our projects, by the agenda being published in the Daily Record, a sign being posted, postcards that go out 20 days in advance, as well as being on our website. So surrounding neighbors were notified that way. I did reach out to the Northeast Neighborhood Service Center Administrator, Carlos Torres, and he indicated that there were no current concerns or nothing received from the neighborhood to the Neighborhood Service Center about this project. So there were no comments received on this project from the neighborhood. Are there any questions about this one? Okay. Case number 2, we've dealt with something like this fairly similar. There was a wine bar on Alexander Street that wanted outdoor seating. This is similar to that in that there's a bar restaurant that would like to establish outdoor seating to accessory to their use. They are located in the North Winton Village area by Sticky Lips, and it's to establish outdoor seating. We will have to do seeker on this one, so maybe after, if you guys have any general discussion, I can pull up my screen and we can go over seeker together.
Hey there, how you doing, hon?
Okay, I will pull up the screen.
I've got a question now.
Oh, it looks like, Matt, you have to grant me permission to share my screen.
And Anna, Richard had a question.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't. Oh,
it took me a little bit of orientation when I looked at it to realize that it's basically a platform out there now, right? That's the concrete pad in place is what they're talking about.
Yep.
Is that, and that was like, so I guess I'm wondering, I'm thinking it was used before for outdoor seating and they're just gonna use it again, or?
That might be a question for the applicant. To the best of my knowledge of what's contained in the staff report is that this is the establishment of that use, but I'm not sure about its previous use, or there are no previous permits for that. So if you have any questions for the applicant, maybe you can bring that up in the hearing.
I'm wondering if somebody poured a slab on slab out there without any, on a public sidewalk without any permit.
So this is actually on private property. So it's not in the public right of way.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
because if it was in the public right of way, it would be going through the sidewalk cafe permit process. Because it's on private property, it goes through the city planning commission process.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, I will pull up the short environmental assessment form so we can do seeker. Alrighty, so what I will do is read the question and then give you a few minutes to, or I'll read the number and then give you a few seconds to read the question itself, and then you can just let me know no or yes. So number 1.
No.
Number 2.
No.
Nope.
No.
No,
No.
Number 3.
No.
No.
no,
No.
Number 4.
No.
No.
no,
Number 5.
No.
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 no,
Number 6.
No.
No.
Number 7A.
No.
No.
no,
No.
Number 7B.
No. No.
no,
Number 8.
No.
no,
No.
Number 9.
No. No.
No.
no,
Number 10.
No.
no,
Number 11.
No.
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 Okay. And there we have it. So if you could sign this back where you are at your home and then mail it in to me, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Okay, now, will you send me a copy or?
Yeah, I can print
Okay.
that out. What I'll do is print that out and then mail it to you to sign off, and then
Okay, great. I'll be happy to do that, like I did last time.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. If there are no questions on that one, we can move to the third item on our agenda.
Okay, I'm leaving everybody. I'll see you for the hearing.
Okay.
Okay,
Two. All
Steve Rebholz, I'm stepping away as well.
right, we'll see you at the meeting.
Okay, so this one is a referral from a site plan review project. The applicant is appealing a decision made by the manager of zoning. We went through one of these not too long ago with 58 University to refresh your memory. A couple notes on this. You guys, did you all receive the additional comments that were received? I sent that Friday afternoon or early Friday evening. So I will be reading those into the record. I have my bottle of water next to me to get through all of those. And one thing to note is the applicant did ask for adjournment. Their attorney had sent a letter, but our law department had reviewed the hearing process and found that it does in fact comply with the open meetings law, zoning code, and all other applicable laws as duly amended by the governor and mayor's emergency orders. So the letter sent by the applicant's attorney did not raise any issues that the law department had not already addressed. So that's just a little update on that. Do you guys have any questions about this project?
Yes, Dave, I have a question. I guess like the last one we did, basically we have to determine whether or not it's appropriate or not, either with conditions or without, or deny it, like we would any other application. Is that correct?
That is right. Yeah, you have to decide whether it hits any of the 18 criteria of denial.
Mhm.
And like you provided, if you thought there was some condition that could prevent it from what would otherwise hit a denial criteria, you could suggest come up with that as well.
Mhm. And I guess my second question was, I thought I saw it in the staff report about parking in this zoning area, not zoning, in this area. It's not a requirement. Is that correct?
That's correct. There is not a parking requirement in the center city district that this project is located in.
Because I guess not concern, but my issue is that a lot of the comments that we had was regarding the parking issue, as opposed to the actual building itself.
Yeah.
That's all that I had.
Okay. Richard, did you have something to say?
No, I'm just, I recognize it's totally a parking issue. I'm a little bit, are one of the 18 issues having to do with, I mean, I look at this as like, you know, parking isn't a requirement in Central City for housing. Because obviously this is impacting the neighbors there and the businesses. And, you know, if there's no requirement for parking at all, then what's the issue legally?
So Richard, this is Tom Worth. Those are questions, of course, to ask the applicant when we talk about the applicant here, the one that's bringing the referral. So you could imagine a situation where if it was placing such a huge parking demand that it was interfering with uses elsewhere, that it might hit one of the denial criteria. So that's one of the reasons we have a site plan approval process for these kinds of uses, because it's kind of like the special permit process. They can sometimes have negative effects. So they have the site plan review process to, you know, take an extra close look at it.
It might be helpful too, because similar to how we did 58 University, the manager of zoning does have a few minutes to share kind of the zoning side of things and the process of that. So Jill will also, in addition, there was a letter that kind of outlined that process that's attached to the staff report, and then Jill, the manager of zoning, will also be going through that at the presentation during the hearing itself. If that's the end of the discussion, we can break now and then resume back at 6 o'clock when the hearing itself commences. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes, sounds good. Oh, maybe I have a quick question. When I was out on my site visit Saturday, I went by the over near the hospital on Portland Avenue. We had approved a cell tower on one of the buildings there on Portland, and I noticed that the building was not occupied and there were no towers up. Did that project ever go through? I was just curious.
I do not know off the top of my head, but I can look into that for you.
I can't remember the address. It's between, it's just just south of the hospital.
Okay.
On the west side of the street.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that. Yep.
Because I know we have projects oftentimes that we approve, and sometimes if you don't go by them or you don't see them doing something, you never know their status.
Right. All righty.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Yep.
So we'll see you at 6.
Sounds good.
Okay.